Hello. My name is Layla Rhodes, and I'm about to lose everything. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm finally taking it all back. You see, today, I'm sitting in a lawyer's office, my hands trembling as I hear the words that will change everything. My inheritance. My legacy. My family's deceit. And trust me, if you think this is just about a will, you couldn't be more wrong. This is about power, betrayal, and a battle that no one saw coming. The storm is here. And I'm ready. The air in the lawyer's office feels different. It's not just the stark contrast between my modest attire and the heavy mahogany furniture around me. It's the silence, thick and suffocating, pressing down on my chest as the lawyer reads aloud the will that's meant to determine the fate of everything. I can feel the tremble in my hands as I clutch the paper, but I don't let it show. Not yet. I glance at my parents, sitting stiff and motionless, their eyes glued to the lawyer, waiting for their name to be called. I know what they expect, their share of my grandfather's fortune. The legacy they've been preparing to claim for years. It's been a long time since I felt like I was part of their plan. But now, the lawyer's voice cuts through the tension like a knife. To Layla Rhodes, my beloved granddaughter, I leave everything, my estate, the $72 million, and all holdings therein. A sickening silence falls over the room, as though the world has stopped moving. My father's face freezes, and I can hear my mother's breath catch in her throat. They're trying to hide it, but I can see it. They are shocked. They are furious. And they're looking at me like I've just stolen something they were entitled to. I stand there, my mind racing, my heart thudding loudly in my chest. How did this happen? I never asked for this. My grandfather's estate, his legacy, was never supposed to be mine. But somehow, here I am, the sole heir to everything. Victor's fist slams down onto the mahogany desk, his voice sharp with anger. This is a mistake, he spits, his words heavy with disbelief. My mother, Seraphine, manages to hide her anger behind a mask of politeness. We're so happy for you, darling, she says, though the words sound like they've been forced through her clenched teeth. It's just unexpected. I nod absently, my eyes flicking from one parent to the other. My father's face is reddening, his jaw clenched tight. There's a flash of something dangerous in his eyes, but I don't let it faze me. Not anymore. I never asked for this inheritance, and yet here it is, thrust upon me. A gift and a curse. The weight of it presses down on my shoulders, heavier than I could have imagined. What am I supposed to do with this? How do I even begin to carry it? But the truth is, I've never really had a choice, have I? This family, this mansion, the name, it's always been about what they expected from me, not who I was. All my life, I've been the one who sacrificed, the one who stayed silent. And now, I'm standing here, holding something I never wanted, and it's all mine. Layla, the lawyer's voice cuts through my thoughts. I look up at him, and he hands me the papers, the inheritance papers, the keys to the life I never asked for. My hand hovers over the signature line, my mind a whirl of confusion and fear. What will happen if I sign this? What happens if I don't? The lawyer looks at me expectantly, waiting for me to make my choice. And my parents, they're not looking at me with pride or love. No, they're looking at me like I'm a betrayal, a thief who's stolen something from them. I glance at their faces, their eyes filled with anger, greed, and something darker. It's not just about the money. It's about control. And as I stand there, my hand hovering over the papers, the question that keeps running through my mind is simple. How did this happen? How did I become the enemy? The tension in the room thickens as I stand, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. I glance at the signature line again, then back at my parents, their angry stares burning into me. And then I make my decision. I don't sign. I don't need their approval. I don't need their permission. I don't need to give them anything. For the first time in my life, I am my own person. I'm not signing, I say softly, but the words feel like a declaration. My father's face contorts with rage. You ungrateful, he begins, but I cut him off. No, Dad. I'm not signing. I can feel my pulse quicken, but I hold my ground. You can't have this. You can't take what's mine. My mother looks at me, her expression flickering with disbelief and something colder. She opens her mouth to speak, but I can see it, the years of manipulation, the subtle ways she made me feel less than, the ways she kept me in my place. I'm not your pawn anymore, I say, the words spilling out before I can stop them. The truth is a relief, like a weight lifting from my chest. I turn and walk out of the office, my heart still pounding in my chest. As I step out into the cold, my breath forms clouds in the air. The world feels different now. For the first time, I'm free. But I don't know if freedom will be enough to protect me from the storm I've just started. I walk away from the lawyer's office, heart still pounding, the world feeling suddenly too big. My footsteps sound too loud in the cold, empty air. The moment I've dreaded and longed for is finally here, but the silence of the night makes everything feel unreal. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm standing on my own, and yet, I can't shake the cold dread settling in my chest. I've just inherited everything, but I've lost more than I ever thought possible. The wind whips at my face as I step into the night, snow falling in thick, clumsy flakes. The cold cuts through my thin coat, but I don't care. The bitter sting of it feels almost fitting. Outside, my breath forms clouds in the frigid air. It's late, and the streets are quiet, empty, just like I feel inside. The mansion looms behind me, silent and imposing, the warm glow of the windows now just a distant memory. What was once home now feels like a prison. I stand for a moment on the sidewalk, suitcase in hand, unsure where to go. It's as though the world has suddenly swallowed me whole. I want to turn back, knock on the door, beg them to take me back. But I know better than that. I was never the one they wanted to protect. They don't even know who I am. I wasn't their daughter, I was just the one who was supposed to play along, smile when they told me to, sit quietly when they handed me their expectations. I glance over my shoulder at the mansion, now dark, its grand walls towering over me like a silent sentinel. The home that held my childhood, my memories, the dreams I once had for my future. Now it feels like a tomb. Everything I ever wanted, everything I ever hoped for, locked away inside those cold walls. Layla, you're no longer part of this family, my father had said. His voice still echoes in my mind, hard and final. Pack up and leave. There's no room for you here anymore. The words ring in my ears as I walk down the sidewalk, feeling the weight of them with every step. How did I get here? How did I become the one who had to leave? I thought I was the daughter they were proud of, the one who stayed out of trouble, kept things together when everything else was falling apart. But now? Now I'm the one they don't want. I can't help but wonder if I've always been this invisible to them. As I trudge through the snow, I try to ignore the sting in my eyes. I won't cry. Not here. Not now. I can't. But it's hard not to. The pain isn't just from the cold biting at my skin or the weight of the suitcase dragging me down. It's the shame. The humiliation. I don't even know where to go, where to turn. I don't have anywhere to run to. The world feels so small now, and I feel like a speck, lost in it. But just as I'm about to turn the corner, my phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, expecting a message from my lawyer or some kind of notification. But it's not. It's a live stream notification. My stomach drops. It's a video from inside the house. I click it open, and my heart sinks even further as I watch. Tiffany. Tiffany, my sister-in-law, is holding her phone, laughing. The screen shakes as she zooms in on me, standing there, suitcase in hand, alone in the snow. She's filming me. Laughing at me. Look at her, Tiffany says, the sound of her voice mocking and cruel. The millionaire, homeless in the snow. What's next, Layla? Gonna beg on the streets? The camera shakes as she laughs again. The comments start flooding in. Is she really out there? Oh my God, she's a joke. Why is she even surprised? She doesn't even know how to manage money. The world is watching. My family is watching. Tears burn at the back of my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. Not here. Not like this. Not in front of people who would laugh at me. I've been a joke to them my whole life. I should be used to it by now. I turn off the video, shoving my phone back into my pocket. But the sting of it, the humiliation, stays with me. It settles in my bones like the cold, making my legs heavy, my heart even heavier. I don't have a place to go, and I don't know how I'll survive this. I don't even know if I want to. But then something shifts inside me. Something hardens. I can't keep letting them do this to me. I can't keep letting them push me around. I won't let them win. I refuse. I know they want to see me fail. They want to see me on the streets, destitute, begging for their help. They want to see me crawl back to them, asking for forgiveness. But I won't. I won't give them that satisfaction. As I walk through the snow, I can feel a new determination growing inside me. They think I'm weak. They think I can't stand on my own. But I will show them. The snow continues to fall as I walk aimlessly down the empty sidewalk. The chill in the air cuts through me like a blade, but it's nothing compared to the cold I feel inside. Each step is heavier than the last, the weight of my suitcase pulling me down. I don't know where I'm going, or if it even matters. Everything feels so far out of reach, like I'm grasping for something that doesn't exist. But somehow, I keep moving forward. Then, in the quiet of the night, my phone buzzes in my pocket. At first, I ignore it. I don't have the energy for anything right now, not for messages, not for calls, not for anything. But it buzzes again, persistent, insistent. It's a message from the lawyer. I stop in my tracks, heart suddenly racing, and pull my phone from my coat pocket. Layla, I have something for you. Please meet me at the office tomorrow. I stare at the message for a long time, unsure of what to make of it. My lawyer had been helpful, but I never expected him to reach out so urgently. Maybe it's just more legal jargon, more documents I need to go over. But deep down, I feel a stirring of something else. What if this is the key? What if this is the piece of the puzzle I've been missing? I take a deep breath, shoving the phone back into my pocket. Tomorrow. I'll figure this out tomorrow. For now, I need to keep walking. But as I walk, a thought surfaces in my mind, unbidden, and it hits me like a punch to the gut. What if my grandfather had known this was coming? What if he had been preparing for this moment? I shake my head, trying to push the thought away, but it lingers. Maybe it's a stretch, but the idea of him, preparing for what's happening now, fills me with a sense of something I can't quite name. It feels like hope, but also like betrayal. I've been playing this role for so long, the dutiful daughter, the quiet one, the one who bends and conforms to everyone else's expectations. But now, I'm being forced into a new role, the one who stands up, the one who fights back. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. But I don't have a choice, do I? The next morning, I walk into the lawyer's office, my stomach a tangled mess of nerves and anticipation. It's a small, somewhat sterile room, filled with stacks of paperwork and the hum of an old air conditioning unit. The faint smell of coffee lingers in the air, and I take a deep breath, trying to calm myself. The lawyer, a middle-aged man with graying hair and sharp glasses, looks up from his desk as I enter. Layla, he says, his tone measured but warm. I'm glad you came. Please, take a seat. I sit across from him, my hands still shaking slightly as I clutch my coat in my lap. What's this about? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. I can feel my pulse quickening, the anticipation building. The lawyer slides a large, manila envelope across the desk toward me. I glance at it, then back at him, my brow furrowing. What's in this? He hesitates for a moment before answering. It's a letter. A letter from your grandfather. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat. A letter from my grandfather? I reach for the envelope slowly, carefully, and open it, pulling out a thick sheet of paper. It's in his handwriting. The familiar looping script, the same one I saw in the letters he used to send me when I was a little girl, floods me with memories. I blink back the sudden sting of tears that rises in my throat, my hands trembling as I unfold the paper. My dearest Layla, the letter begins. If you are reading this, then I have passed. I want you to know that I have always believed in you. You were always the one who understood my dreams and my work, the one who saw the value in what I did. I have left you everything, Layla. The house, the money, everything I've built. It's yours now. But there is more to this inheritance than you think. You must use it wisely, with the integrity that I know you have in your heart. You are my legacy, Layla. Protect it, guard it, and remember that this family, as much as they may try, will never define who you are. You must decide for yourself what path to take, but I trust you will make the right choice. Your grandfather, Theodore Rhodes. I feel a lump form in my throat as I finish reading. The world seems to shift around me. My heart is pounding in my chest, the room feels like it's spinning, and I have to fight to steady my breath. I set the letter down on the desk, staring at it, unable to comprehend the gravity of what it means. This isn't just about the inheritance. This isn't just about the money or the house or the assets. This is about my grandfather believing in me. This is about the man who was always distant, always absorbed in his work, giving me the most important thing he could, trust. The letter is more than a will. It's a statement, a last testament of faith in me. And for the first time, I feel like I'm standing on solid ground. I look up at the lawyer, my voice barely above a whisper. What does this mean? What do I do now? He leans back in his chair, his expression serious. It means, Layla, you have the power now. The legal right to claim everything he left you. And that includes something much more important, the truth. I nod, the weight of the words settling into me like a heavy mantle. This isn't just about a battle over money anymore. It's about reclaiming my life, my identity. I stand up, the letter still clutched in my hand, a new determination in my heart. I know what I have to do. The letter from my grandfather is still in my hand as I make my way down the hallway. My pulse is quick, but there's something steady in the way my feet move. The world feels different now, not quite as uncertain. The paper that weighed so heavily in my hands just hours ago now feels lighter. The answer to the questions I've carried with me for years is in those words, and I know what I have to do. My footsteps echo in the empty apartment as I reach the front door, still clutching the letter. The once sterile, cold walls now feel like a strange sanctuary. I let out a breath as I step into the elevator, the weight of it all finally sinking in. This isn't just a house I've been kicked out of. This is a family I no longer belong to. I don't need them anymore. The elevator ride is brief, but every second in it feels like the last moment before the real world hits me again. I'm about to face my family. Face my father, the man who taught me how to fear the world, but never how to navigate it. The man who looked at me, and still somehow didn't see me. I step out onto the cold sidewalk, the city's noise is muted by the thick winter air. The wind bites at my face, but I don't mind. It's the kind of cold that numbs your thoughts, numbs your pain. I pull my coat tighter around me, and for the first time, I feel a sense of clarity. The lawyer's office is only a few blocks away. I'm not sure what I expect when I get there. Maybe a handshake, a look of understanding. But as I walk through the door of the lawyer's office, I can feel the weight of everything pressing on me again. This isn't just legal work now. This is the beginning of something bigger. The office is quiet, almost eerily so, except for the clicking of keyboards and the low murmur of the receptionist. My lawyer, Mr. Hanley, looks up as I step inside. His expression is neutral, but there's a flicker of something in his eyes when he sees the letter in my hands. Layla, he greets me softly. You're here. I nod, trying to hold the tremor out of my voice. I'm here. I need to do this. Mr. Hanley steps aside to make space for me at his desk. The chair feels too big, like I'm out of place. As I sit down, I catch my reflection in the glass window behind him. For a moment, I don't recognize the woman staring back at me. She looks different, stronger, determined. It's not the same person who walked out of the mansion hours ago, cold and confused. This woman knows who she is. You've got the documents? He asks, his voice breaking me from my thoughts. I blink, my breath catching for a moment. I hadn't realized how deep I'd been lost in thought. I nod again, slipping the letter onto his desk. Mr. Hanley's fingers hover over it briefly before he lifts it, carefully unfolding the paper. So, this is the letter your grandfather wrote? I nod. It's everything he left for me. But it's not just the inheritance. It's what he believed in me. It's what he saw that I never saw in myself. I sit back, my fingers wrapped tightly around the arms of the chair, the cool leather pressing into my palms. Mr. Hanley reads over the letter quietly, his expression unreadable. I don't know what's running through his mind, but I know what's running through mine. This isn't just about the house or the money anymore. It's about something bigger, something more than just legal documents. I didn't expect to find this much power in one letter. But here it is, in my hands, with my name on it. The legal papers from my grandfather's estate are more than just a formality now. They're a lifeline. After a few moments, Mr. Hanley looks up at me, his expression still neutral. You understand what this means, right? He asks, his voice low and steady. This is your claim to the entire estate. Your family. They're going to fight this, I interrupt, my voice hardening. Exactly, he says, nodding slowly. You'll need to be prepared for the backlash. And it won't be pretty. I brace myself, clenching my fists. The nerves are coming back, but I won't let them show. I'm ready. His eyes soften, and for the first time, he actually smiles. All right then. Let's make this official. The meeting is straightforward. Mr. Hanley starts pulling out the necessary documents, arranging everything with a kind of practiced precision. But I can't focus on the paperwork. My mind is a million miles away, still back in that house. My father's face, the rage that flooded his eyes when he realized what had happened. The way my mother, who had always been the silent partner in their partnership, stood there and said nothing. No apology. No concern. Just a cold, indifferent acceptance of what had been done. I think about the quilt of lies they'd wrapped me in over the years, how they made me feel small, insignificant. And now I'm sitting here, ready to tear it all apart. We'll start with the will, Mr. Hanley says, drawing me out of my thoughts. I'll need you to sign here, here, and here. The rest will be handled through the courts. I look at the documents, my signature just a formality in all this. But it still feels like a monumental moment. Signing this isn't just about claiming my inheritance, it's about claiming my life. I scribble my name at the bottom of the papers, my fingers barely touching the surface of the pen as I do. This isn't the signature of someone small, someone who's been broken by family. This is a signature of someone who's taking back control. Done, I say, my voice firm, even though my heart is racing. Mr. Hanley leans back in his chair, eyeing me with a thoughtful expression. You know they won't give up without a fight. I know, I say quietly, my mind already made up. But this time, I'm not backing down. I stand, collecting the papers. As I reach for my coat, I feel a weight settle on my chest. This is it. The battle has started. And I'm ready. The lawyer's office feels like a courtroom in itself. There's a sharp coldness in the air, the walls lined with certificates and books that could tell stories of battles fought long before mine. But today, it's my battle. My voice echoes louder than I thought possible as I march into the room, my mind racing but my feet steady. I've spent a lifetime doing what was expected of me. But today is different. Today, I'm not here to beg for forgiveness. I'm here to lay down the law. Victor and Seraphine are already seated when I arrive, their posture rigid, trying to project strength they no longer possess. They're pretending that they still have control, but I see it in their eyes, the way their hands tremble just slightly as they grasp the arms of their chairs. Their world is crumbling, and they're too proud to admit it. Victor doesn't look up as I enter, his gaze fixed on the paperwork in front of him. You're late, he sneers. But there's a crack in his voice that betrays his anger. He's no longer the confident, powerful man he once was. He's just a man fighting to keep a hold on something slipping away. I take a seat, facing him, my lawyer sitting beside me. The weight of the room presses on my chest, but I don't let it show. This is my moment. Let's get this over with, Victor continues, his voice clipped, filled with disdain. I've got better things to do than waste time here. He's trying to appear unfazed, but his words don't match the tightness in his face, the way his jaw clenches when he glances at me. I'm not here to negotiate, I say, my voice calm, but sharp, like a blade waiting to strike. This is my inheritance. I've made my decision. Seraphine shifts in her chair, the heels of her shoes clicking against the floor. She's been silent until now, but I can feel her eyes on me. The coldness in her stare feels like ice. You don't know what you're doing, she says, her voice sweet but with a hidden venom. You've never been cut out for this kind of life. This isn't your world, Layla. I feel the sting of her words, but I don't let them affect me. She's just trying to pull me back, to make me feel small, like I've always been. But I'm not that girl anymore. I'm not the one who sat quietly in the corner, waiting for their approval. I've walked away from their world, and I'm never going back. I don't need your approval, I say, my voice unwavering. I've made my choice. And you will respect it. Victor laughs bitterly, the sound harsh and mocking. You think you can just take everything from us? Your grandfather's will is a joke, Layla. He was senile by the time he signed it. This will never hold up in court. I feel my pulse quicken, but I force myself to remain calm. He's bluffing. He's always been good at that, acting like he's in control when he's not. I've already spoken with my lawyer, I say, my voice steady. You can try to fight it, but it won't matter. You've lost. The room falls silent for a moment, the weight of my words hanging in the air. I can see the flicker of doubt in Victor's eyes. He's not used to being challenged like this. For the first time in my life, I can see it clearly, he's scared. I pull the papers out from my bag, my fingers moving with purpose. I lay them on the table in front of him, my eyes never leaving his. These are the legal documents, I say. The quitclaim deed, the will, everything is in order. And I will not give it up. Seraphine opens her mouth to say something, but she falters when she sees the seriousness in my eyes. I'm not backing down. Not this time. Layla, you don't know what you're doing, she says, her voice trembling just slightly now. This is bigger than you. You can't just take everything from us. We are your family. I lean forward, my hand steady on the table. You never cared about family. You cared about control. And now, you're losing it. There's a tense pause, a moment where it feels like time is standing still. My father's face twists into a grimace as he looks down at the papers. The anger in his eyes is replaced with something else, fear. The same fear I used to see when I was a little girl and I would catch him making mistakes he thought he could hide. I don't care if you're my father, I say, my voice low but firm. This is mine now. You don't get to decide what happens to it anymore. The lawyer across from me shifts uncomfortably, but he stays quiet. I glance at him, making sure I have his full attention. I can't let them see any weakness. Not now. Not after everything that's happened. Victor stands abruptly, knocking over his chair in the process. You're making a mistake, he spits, his face flushed with rage. You're ruining this family. I'm not ruining anything, I reply, my voice steady. I'm finally fixing it. This family was built on lies, and I'm done being a part of it. As I finish speaking, I hear the sound of my phone buzzing in my pocket. I pull it out, glancing at the screen. It's a notification from the bank. I feel a coldness sweep over me as I read the message, your account has been temporarily frozen. I freeze, the blood draining from my face. I look up at my father, my voice barely above a whisper. What did you do? Victor smirks, his hand shaking as he picks up his drink from the table. You think you can win this, Layla? Not when I control the finances. You can't do anything without me. I feel the anger bubbling inside me, a fire that's been simmering for years. They've been taking everything from me, and now they're trying to take my independence, too. They won't win. I stand, my decision final. You've just declared war, I say coldly, my eyes never leaving my father's face. And you'll regret it. I wake up the next morning feeling like I've been holding my breath for hours, and now, I finally get to exhale. The weight of yesterday's confrontation with my parents lingers in the back of my mind, but there's something new inside me, a sense of purpose I've never felt before. Today, the fight shifts to the courtroom. This is where the truth will come to light. I look at the papers on my desk, the quitclaim deed, the video footage, the documents proving the lies my family has been living. It's all there. The truth. Finally, I can hold it up and say, this is mine. The lawyer's office is a blur of activity when I arrive. Phones ring, assistants scurry around, papers shuffle. But for the first time in weeks, I feel calm. The rush of emotions that had overwhelmed me in the past is replaced with a quiet determination. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about justice, about making sure my grandfather's legacy is protected from the very people who tried to steal it. My lawyer greets me with a nod. You're ready, he asks, his voice calm, reassuring. He's always been this way, steady and sure. Today, he looks at me like he's proud of me, not just as a client, but as someone who stood up to the people who have tried to tear her down. I'm ready, I reply, and I mean it. The courtroom is exactly what I expected, cold, clinical, and filled with tension. The walls are lined with rows of seats, occupied by reporters, family members, and a sea of lawyers. I stand at the entrance, feeling the eyes of everyone on me. But I don't shrink. I don't falter. For once, I own this space. My family is seated on the opposite side. Victor, Seraphine, and their legal team sit there, their faces painted with a mix of resentment and dread. This isn't the scene they imagined when they first thought they could intimidate me into submission. They expected me to crumble. They expected me to beg. But I'm not that girl anymore. I walk to the witness stand, my heels clicking on the polished floor with each step. As I sit down, I glance over at my parents. They don't look at me. They don't even acknowledge my presence. But I know what they're thinking, that I'm not worth their time, that they still believe this is their fight to win. They're wrong. This fight is mine, and I'm going to win it. The judge enters the room, a stern man with a permanent frown etched into his face. Order in the court, he announces, and the room immediately quiets. The proceedings begin, but I'm barely listening. All I can think about is the pile of evidence that's about to be laid out in front of everyone. Victor's lawyer stands up first, his voice dripping with condescension. Your Honor, he begins, we have reason to believe that these documents were forged. The will and the quitclaim deed are not legitimate. We intend to prove that these documents were not signed under proper circumstances. I feel my heart skip a beat. It's the same lie they've been telling for weeks now, the same manipulation they've used to get away with everything. But it's not going to work this time. I take a deep breath, and my lawyer stands to counter. Your Honor, the documents presented to the court today are fully legitimate. They were signed by my client's grandfather before his passing, and we have all the proof we need to confirm their authenticity. He gestures to me, and I stand up to face the court, holding up the quitclaim deed. The moment my eyes meet the judge's, I feel the weight of this moment. This is it. This is where everything changes. I speak clearly, my voice steady. I don't need anyone's approval anymore. This is my rightful inheritance, and I intend to carry my grandfather's legacy with dignity. Victor stands up, his face flushed with anger. You think you're the rightful heir? He demands. You're just a girl who doesn't know the first thing about managing wealth. This was never meant for you. I can feel the anger rising inside me, but I keep my face calm, my posture composed. I don't need to know how to manage money. I know how to manage integrity, and that's more than I can say for you. The courtroom falls silent at my words. I feel my lawyer's eyes on me, a small smile tugging at his lips. He knows this is my moment. This is when I'm finally taking control. But then, the opposing lawyer tries one last trick. He pulls out a series of bank statements, each one claiming that my grandfather's estate was mishandled and that the documents I presented were misleading. But I know better. I know exactly what they're trying to do. My lawyer flips through his own files and holds up a medical report from the doctor who had been with my grandfather during his final days. Your Honor, my lawyer says, this report confirms that my client's grandfather was of sound mind when he signed the documents. There was no coercion, no trickery. These documents are as legitimate as they come. The opposing lawyer tries to speak over him, but the judge silences him with a wave of his hand. We've heard enough, he says, his voice booming across the courtroom. I'll take a short recess before we proceed with closing statements. The gavel slams down, and the tension in the room lifts slightly. I sit back down, my heart still pounding, but now it's not from fear. It's from the exhilaration of standing up for myself, of finally putting everything out on the table. I can see it in their eyes. Victor and Seraphine's expressions are a mix of shock, fear, and desperation. But it doesn't matter. The truth is out now. The evidence is clear. I've taken the first step in a battle that's far from over. The court is buzzing with activity, yet I'm in a strange kind of silence. The buzz of conversation and the shuffle of papers around me seem distant, as if the world is fading away to leave just me and the truth. Today, this battle is mine to win or lose, but I'm not going to lose. Not this time. I take a deep breath, smoothing down the front of my blazer, trying to steady my hands. My lawyer, Daniel, sits beside me, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the storm inside my chest. He has no idea what this moment feels like, the weight of the family's lies, their years of manipulation, now about to be exposed in front of everyone. He can be calm, but I can't. Across the room, I can see them. Victor, my father, sitting stiffly beside his lawyer, his eyes burning with anger. Seraphine, my mother, a cold mask on her face as she glances nervously around the room. They think they have the upper hand, that they can still control this. But they're wrong. The judge calls the court to order, and I stand up with Daniel at my side. It's time to end this. Time to take control of the life I've let them dictate for far too long. Your Honor, Daniel begins, his voice steady and confident. We are here today not only to prove the validity of the documents presented but also to expose the fraud and deceit that have been carried out by the other side for years. I can feel my heart beat faster as I step forward to speak. This is the moment. The one I've been waiting for. I don't need anyone's approval anymore, I say, my voice clear and strong, despite the storm in my chest. This is my inheritance, my grandfather's legacy, and I intend to carry it forward with integrity. No one can take this from me. Victor's face flushes with rage. You think you can just steal everything from us? He sneers. Your grandfather was senile, Layla. This will be contested. It's not even legal. I feel a flicker of doubt trying to creep in, but I squash it down. I've known about their lies for years, and today, I'm going to make sure everyone else knows it too. I'm not stealing anything, I say, my voice quiet but firm. I'm taking what's rightfully mine. My grandfather left this to me, not to you. Seraphine scoffs from across the room. You have no idea what you're doing, she says, her voice dripping with condescension. You don't know how to handle money. You'll lose it all, just like your little business idea. I want to scream at her, tell her how wrong she is, how she's always treated me like a child, like I wasn't capable of standing on my own 2 feet. But I don't. I can't waste any more of my energy on her. Instead, I glance over at Daniel, who's already presenting the quitclaim deed, the one my grandfather signed years ago, before the will. He slides it across the table to the judge, who picks it up and looks over it carefully. I can feel the weight of their eyes on me, waiting for me to make a mistake, waiting for me to stumble. They've always expected me to fail, to fall in line. But I'm not that person anymore. Your Honor, Daniel continues, this quitclaim deed is the key. It shows that my client, Layla Rhodes, was not only the rightful heir to the estate, but that this was all done with her grandfather's full knowledge and consent. Victor's lawyer stands up abruptly. Objection, he calls out. This document is fraudulent. It was likely forged after the will was signed. The room falls into silence as the judge holds up his hand, signaling for everyone to calm down. We will need more than just claims, the judge says, his voice stern. If you want to make this argument, you need proof. I take a slow breath, collecting myself. I have proof. And I'm going to use it. Daniel hands the judge another stack of papers. Here is the medical record from Dr. Halloran, the doctor who was present when Mr. Rhodes signed the documents. The report confirms that he was in sound mind and body when he transferred the property to Layla. Additionally, we have the video footage of the signing, which shows Mr. Rhodes confirming his wishes. The opposing lawyer seems to freeze as the judge reviews the documents. The whole courtroom feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for the next move. I glance at my parents. Their faces are pale, their expressions a mix of shock and desperation. They didn't think I would have this kind of evidence. They didn't think I would ever fight back. But now, I've won this first round. Victor, unable to hide his fury, slams his fist onto the table. This isn't over, Layla. You'll regret this. We'll take this to the highest court if we have to. I feel a rush of vindication, but I keep my face neutral. If you want to fight, Victor, then fight. But I'm not backing down. Not anymore. The judge looks up, his expression impassive. We'll reconvene in an hour for closing statements. I suggest you all prepare yourselves for the next phase of this case. I sit down slowly, trying to steady my breathing. The room feels heavy, the tension thick. But for the first time in my life, I don't feel scared. I don't feel like I'm standing on the edge of a precipice, waiting to fall. I'm standing firm. I've made my stand, and I'm not going to lose. As the recess begins, I feel the eyes of the court on me. Some are sympathetic, others are judgmental, but I don't care. The truth is out now. And no one can take that away from me. I look over at Daniel, who gives me a reassuring nod. You're doing great, he says quietly. But I know this battle is far from over. The family will fight me every step of the way. But I've taken the first step. And that's all I need. I won't let them tear me down anymore. The mansion looms before me, now silent and cold, as though the life that once filled its walls has been drained away. I stand at the gates, feeling the weight of the place I used to call home, yet knowing with every step that this will be the last time I walk these halls. Today is the day that everything comes to an end. Today, I will finally put the past to rest, once and for all. I can hear the echoes of my footsteps as I walk up the long driveway, the snow beneath my boots crunching softly. The house, now deserted by my parents, feels like a stranger's home. It's not just the absence of my family that gives it that feeling, it's the emptiness, the echo of years of manipulation and control. The weight of their legacy feels like it has settled into the very walls, and I know that in order to truly break free, I have to leave this place behind. I can't keep carrying it with me. Victor's message from yesterday still hangs in the air, his anger sharp and threatening, but it doesn't reach me anymore. I've already made my decision. This house, this family, all of it, they don't define me. And they never will again. I enter the house, walking through the front door as if I've stepped into another life. The air is colder inside, the warmth that once filled the rooms now replaced with an eerie silence. I stand in the entryway for a moment, taking it all in, the portraits of my ancestors, the antique furniture, the grand staircase that used to be a symbol of my place in this family. But now, it all feels like a prison, a cage I've been trapped in for far too long. I make my way through the house, step by step, each one feeling heavier than the last. But I keep moving forward, my resolve strengthening with every passing second. I've come this far. I'm not turning back now. As I enter the living room, I see them, Victor and Seraphine, sitting across from each other, both looking at me with that same disdain they've always had. Victor's jaw is clenched, his fingers twitching at the sides of his chair, while Seraphine maintains her icy composure, her eyes never leaving me. It's as if the years of bitterness between us are suddenly alive in the room, filling the space with something heavy and suffocating. But I don't feel it. Not anymore. You should have stayed out of this, Layla, Victor says, his voice low and dangerous. He's trying to keep control, trying to remind me that he's still the one in charge. But I see the fear in his eyes now, the fear of losing everything he's worked for, the power, the influence, the control. It's slipping away, and I know it's killing him. I'm not going anywhere, I say, my voice steady and clear. This is mine. And it always has been. Seraphine snorts, her eyes narrowing. You think you're just going to waltz in here and take everything from us? Her voice is cold, almost mocking. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just a girl who doesn't understand how this works. I feel the anger rise in my chest, but I don't let it show. I've heard these words for years. I've listened to their insults, their dismissals, their attempts to make me feel small. But not anymore. I'm done with it. I know exactly what I'm doing, I say, my voice firm. I'm taking back what was always mine. Victor stands abruptly, knocking his chair back in the process. You don't know what you're messing with, Layla. This isn't just about money. It's about family. It's about legacy. He slams his fist down on the table. You're ruining everything. You're destroying this family. You're the one who destroyed it, I say, my voice cutting through the air like a knife. You and Mom, you've been lying, manipulating, and scheming for years. And I'm done letting you get away with it. Seraphine's lips curl into a sneer, her eyes flashing with barely concealed hatred. You don't know how to handle money, Layla. You'll lose it all, just like everything else you've tried to build. I take a deep breath, letting her words roll off me. She doesn't know me. She never did. I've always been more than they've ever given me credit for. And now, I'm going to show them just how wrong they were. I don't need your money. I don't need your approval, I say, standing tall. What I need is respect. And I'm taking it. I reach into my bag and pull out the final document, a cease and desist letter, along with proof of everything. The fraudulent actions they've committed, the forged signatures, the bribery, it's all here in black and white. The truth, finally exposed. Victor's face pales as he looks at the documents. He opens his mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. His eyes shift toward Seraphine, who looks just as shocked, if not more so. I place the documents on the table between us, and the room falls into a heavy silence. The weight of it all, the years of manipulation, the lies, the deceit, it's all laid out in front of them. And they can't deny it anymore. I'm giving you one chance, I say, my voice cold and unyielding. Leave me alone, and we can move forward. If not, you'll face the consequences of your actions. Criminal charges, lawsuits. I'll make sure the world knows exactly who you are. Victor opens his mouth, but the words seem to die in his throat. For the first time, he's speechless. He can't fight this. He knows it, and so does Seraphine. They've been caught in their own lies, and they can't escape. You think you can just walk away with everything? Victor spits, his face twisted with anger. You think you can just? I've already won, I interrupt, my voice like ice. This isn't your fight anymore. The silence that follows is thick, heavy. For the first time in my life, I feel like I've finally taken control. And I don't have to apologize for it. I stand up, turning my back on them. You've lost, I say over my shoulder. And I'm done with this family. The sky outside the cafe window was painted in soft hues of amber and lavender, the kind of sunset that made you feel like time was slowing down, like the world had finally taken a breath. I sat at the corner table by the glass, hands wrapped around a warm ceramic cup. The smell of cinnamon and espresso floated in the air. It was the kind of place I wouldn't have stepped into before, too quiet, too exposed. But now, it felt right. No courtroom. No mansión. No polished heels or cold stares across long, sterile tables. Just me, in jeans and a sweater, finally alone with my thoughts. Finally still. I had signed the final documents 2 days ago. The ink had barely dried before my lawyer called to confirm everything was complete. The estate was officially mine, house, assets, all of it. The war was over, legally. But emotionally, the battle had one final frontier, letting go. And that, somehow, felt harder than anything that came before. The door to the cafe chimed softly. I looked up out of habit, not expecting anyone. But when I saw him, part of me already knew. Arthur stood at the threshold, his hands buried in the pockets of a coat that looked too thin for winter. He looked smaller than I remembered, not in stature, but in presence. There was no arrogance in his posture now. Just a man trying to step into a room he no longer had the right to be in. He scanned the cafe for a moment before his eyes found mine. I gave a single nod, gesturing to the seat across from me. He sat slowly, like he wasn't sure he belonged here. And maybe he didn't. But this wasn't about belonging. This was about finishing something neither of us had dared to name. I wasn't sure you'd agree to meet, he said quietly, his voice rough around the edges. I almost didn't, I replied. No malice. Just truth. He nodded, folding and unfolding his hands in his lap. I watched him struggle to find his words, and for a brief moment, I saw the boy he used to be, the one who used to pull my braids and then cry when I didn't laugh. The one who stood silent at every family meeting, letting our parents twist the story, rewrite history. I don't expect anything, he finally said. I needed to say it out loud. I messed up. We all did. But I did nothing to stop them. And I see that now. I looked at him for a long moment. Not with anger. Not even sadness. Just distance, like someone who had once lived in the same house but had long since moved out in every way that mattered. I won't fix what you've broken, I said gently. But I won't stop you from starting over. You just have to do it yourself. His eyes met mine, and for the first time in years, I didn't see the smug entitlement of someone who'd always expected things to be handed to him. I saw weariness. I saw quiet. You really think I can? He asked, the question raw, not rhetorical. Yes, I said. You've been given the chance. What you do with it is up to you. He nodded slowly. Thank you, he whispered, not looking up. For not slamming the door. I didn't open it either, I replied softly. But the lock isn't broken. That's all I can offer. We sat in silence after that. Not awkward, just quiet. A silence not born of avoidance, but of something settled. A silence that tasted like closure. When he finally stood to leave, he didn't ask for a hug or forgiveness. He didn't promise to do better or say he'd call. He just paused at the door, looked back once, and nodded. I let him go. The hardest part, I've learned, isn't the fight. It's what comes after. It's the absence of conflict, the quiet that rushes in once the shouting stops. It's the realization that sometimes, the people who were supposed to protect you were the very ones who left you bleeding. And yet, here I was. Whole. Unfolding. I took a sip of my now lukewarm coffee and turned back toward the window. The sun was just beginning to kiss the horizon. The colors outside deepened, the sky embracing twilight in soft, warm swirls. I could hear faint laughter from another table, the soft clink of a spoon against a saucer. Life, unremarkable and unpolished, continued. And for the first time, I wanted to be a part of it. No more battles. No more signatures. No more trying to reclaim things that never belonged to me in the first place. I had nothing left to prove, not to them, not to the world, not even to myself. As I looked out at the fading light, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. Quietly. Slowly. Softly. The sun was setting on everything that came before. And I was ready for what came next. Before we wrap up this story, there's something important I want to leave you with. The fight for what's rightfully yours isn't always easy, but sometimes, standing up for yourself is the only way to reclaim your life. The battle isn't just about the inheritance, it's about your worth, your identity, and the strength to walk away from the people who never saw it in you. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had to stand up for what was right, even when it felt like everything was against you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, I'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the next chapter.